so before we start, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that if you don't have any of these brewing equipment that I'm about to show you, it's okay. I mean, there's so many tools and equipment out there that you can buy, but I'm gonna try my best to put the ones that I'm using here and maybe like future more expensive ones. So just click the links down below and then check it out and surf for yourself. But these are the ones that I have, and these are the ones that I use for my house for now. There are some things that I do want in the future, but we'll get into that later. Okay, just to show you my equipment that I got. So I have December dripper. I don't know if you know what December dripper is. This is just a flat bottom dripper similar to a Kalita wave dripper. Although this one doesn't have 3 holes like the Kalita dripper does. This one just has a bottomless, so you can see one big hole, but it is flat at the bottom. As you can see, it's pretty neat, huh? This is a December dripper. I'll leave the link in the description down below. Trusty handy Kalita filters. This is a scale. I don't remember where I bought this. This is really cheap. It's like 20 bucks. I do want an Akaya scale, but again, I'll link those two in the description down below. But it works great. You don't have to spend so much money on the scale if you don't want to. But yeah, that's my scale. This is my server that I use to drip into the coffee. You don't necessarily need it. It does look nice, just drip into a server, but again, you don't really need it. You could just use your cup. It's nice to see how the coffee is dripping into the server, because if you drip it into a cup, you can't really see what's going on. So that's kind of why I use that one. It's my virtuoso grinder made by Barata. They make really good products. It's one of the most important things you can actually buy as far as coffee making is a grinder, a burr grinder at that. This is my Kalita wave kettle, water kettle that I use. I don't ever use this kettle and put it on the stove, because it's just gonna damage it, it's gonna turn colors, and I just heat up the water and then pour the water into there. And this, my friends, is a thermometer. Now, you don't necessarily need a thermometer, but it is really helpful. Like I said, none of this stuff is really important. I'll go into what I got, but I just wanted to show you a little overhead view of what I have as my setup. Oh yeah, and then my coffee from Wrecking Ball Coffee. Duh. So I'm gonna stress this like as hard as I can, because people always ask me how I brew coffee at home and always want pointers. So I'm gonna lay it out for you right now. 2 of the single most important things you can do or you can buy for your coffee brewing at home is a grinder and a scale. Now, I would probably say that the scale is probably most important. The reason being is that coffees, people always give recipes as far as tablespoons, right? And that's fine, you can brew coffee that way, but you just don't know how much coffee grounds are in your cup when you're just scooping it. Let me back up. There's so many inconsistencies with grinders when you grind coffee that if you look at the coffee grounds in your hand, you can see there's bigger chunks, there's small chunks, there's finer chunks, there's coarser chunks. It's just, there's no way of really knowing how much coffee is in your cup or in your brewing equipment if you're not weighing it. There's no excuse. I'm gonna leave the link in the description below. Just click it. It's like $20 probably. Yeah. Another reason why you need a scale is to measure the amount of coffee or water that you're using, right? So we have a recipe that we use. Most coffee shops do have a recipe that they use to brew coffee, just to make sure that it's not too strong or too weak, or not using too much water, or stuff like that. And so for home purposes, I'm gonna use more of like a rounded numbers. I'm gonna use the 15:1 ratio. What does that mean? Me? Papito. My grandpa. My grandpa's warming up some tamales for us. Or actually, he's warming up some naca tamales. Naca tamales are Nicaraguan tamales. So he's just coming in and out of the kitchen, interrupting my video, bro. Damn. So here I have 25 grams of delicious coffee from Guatemala, from the region of Huehuetenango. So how do you figure this out? Remember that I told you the ratio is 15/1. What does that mean? So you have 25 grams of coffee, and then your ratio is 15:1. So what you do is you multiply 25 grams by 15, which is 375. You see how that worked out? It wasn't that much of a math. All you had to do is multiply, and you learned that, what, like in 5th grade, 4th grade? I don't even know. So I brew coffee at 205 degrees, give or take a degree up or down. The last thing we do is we need to time how long our coffee brewing takes. It shouldn't take more than 3.5 minutes total brew time. And this is how I make a good cup of coffee at home. So I'm timing it, I'm weighing it, and I'm watching it, and I'm smelling it, and I'm loving it. Okay? Huh? Okay. This guy, man. So when you grind your coffee, you kind of want your consistency to be kind of like they say medium coarse. I would say medium coarse. That's usually what I do. But you're going to have to play around with it a little bit, figure out what works best for you. Oops, too much. And then once I'm done with that, I make sure that I make sure I settle it, make sure everything is flat. So I'm pouring my water into my kettle, getting ready to brew. And I know that I've done this before, that this is gonna be 205 grams, so I'm ready. So I start my timer, and then I pour 30 grams of coffee first. Make sure that I don't pour too aggressively, and I make sure that all the grounds are saturated for the initial bloom. And then the coffee will rise to a certain point. It should take around 30 seconds. Now I pour the water in kind of circular motions. I start in the middle, and then I work my way outward, and then quickly inward. And I do that pretty much for the rest of the time. I want to make sure that I don't pour too quickly or too fast. People always ask me, how much water do I pour? Like, how do I know I'm pouring enough or not enough? Well, you just kind of have to eyeball it, kind of trial and error. You definitely don't want to pour too fast or too slow. I would say, and this is my own theory that I've kind of established over the years I've been working, that if I'm at 250 grams of water, right? Let's just say I'm at 250 grams of water at like 2 minutes, then I'm making pretty good time. My suggestion is that if you reach 250 grams at 2 minutes, you're making pretty good time, because after that, you only need about 100 more grams of water to go. And once you get towards the second half of the brew, so once you're past 2 minutes, you want to make sure you get some of the edges, because you don't want those coffees that are called the high and dries. You want all the coffee to be incorporated properly into the bed of coffee throughout the whole brewing process. As you can see, the water's kind of sinking quickly, so I want to make sure that I pour slow in circular motions, and I don't want to pour too much. Right, I'm approaching 3 minutes, so at 3 minutes you should be done pouring the coffee, and it should kind of just like basically pour out or drip out for the last 30-20 seconds. So I'm approaching my 3 minutes, and I'm approaching 375 grams. I'm gonna go over a few seconds, but that's okay. 10 more grams to go. And that's it, 375 grams of water. And then as you can see the timer going, it's 3.5 minutes. I should be ready to go, ready to pour this coffee. The last bit of thing I do is I usually make sure I mix the coffee together. And I pour that baby into my San Francisco cup. All right, that's it. We made our coffee. I explained to you the process that I use at home. Thank you, Wrecking Ball Roasters, for roasting this delicious coffee. Thank you all for joining me today. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to like the video. If you have any questions about anything I missed or anything that you'd like to know, please comment down below. Hit me up over on Instagram if you like as well. My name is J_Napoleon_. If you have any questions about any of the things that I talked about today, please feel free to ask me. That being said, make sure to drink your coffee black, but if you don't, that's okay. All right, peace. Gotta find a place.